Hello, I'm going to show you how to make the newborn size tulip stitch hat. We begin by making the band, which is worked back and forth in rows. And to do this, you initially will chain 4 and work 1 single crochet in each chain across, chain 1 and turn, and that's where I am right here. Work 1 single crochet in the back loop only, so that's this loop, the one furthest away from you. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and under both loops of the last stitch. Make sure you catch all of those loops, both top, the front and back loop on the top. Chain 1 and turn, and just repeat this. So 1 single crochet under the back loop, 1 single crochet under the back loop, 1 single crochet under both loops. And you repeat that, back loop, back loop, both loops, until you have 51 rows in total. When you're counting your rows, when you have your work in front of you, each of the ridge lines, I call them mountains a lot. These mountains and valleys is how I look at it. For each mountain, that's 2 rows. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48. This is 49. So I have 2 more to go. So back loop, back loop, both loops. Back loop, both loops. And now I should have my 51 rows. So once you have your 51 rows, we're now going to work across the top of the band. And by the top of the band, I mean on this side here, this edge. And we're switching to our larger hook to do that. So just extend the loop and stick your new hook in. When you pull on this, make sure it's the top edge that's pulling or moving. That means you've got the yarn on the hook the right way. And now what we're going to do is chain 3 with the larger hook, which is a 5mm or an H hook, and work 1 double crochet in the row ends. Now how I do the row ends, I thought I'd show you this before we move on to the main pattern, is I work into, see the hole there? You can see the light shining through. I work in those holes for 1 spot, and then I work under just the top loop of this stitch, so just under that bit there for my next one, and I do that all the way across. Okay, so you insert through for the double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you do that again under just the 1 loop. You do this all the way across for your double crochets. When you reach the other end, double check that you have 51 double crochet stitches, because you do need 51 double crochets to work the stitch pattern that this hat is made up of. So double check once you're done to make sure that you do have 51. And if you have your 51 stitches, you're ready to go. Now what we're going to do is slip stitch to join our two ends together. So at the top of the chain 3, so you have your chain 1, 2, 3 into this top chain here. Just slip stitch to join. And finish off, because we don't need this color anymore. I always do a chain 1 to finish off. And then leave a bit of yarn here because you can use this to seam down here on your band, so we can close that with this seam edge. So just pull that to tighten it and tuck it inside. And now what we're going to do is join your next color. We are going to be working color B. We need to turn our work so that we're working on the inside of the hat instead of around the outside of the hat. Color B is green for this pattern, and you're going to join your green either with a slip stitch, chain 3, which counts as your first double crochet, or with a standing double crochet. I prefer to use the standing double crochet, so I'm going to show you that method. If you want to do the other method, just slip stitch and chain 3, and you'll be at the same point as me in a second. To join with a standing double crochet, you have your slip knot on your hook, you yarn over, hold them down with your finger. I grab my tail too, this yarn tail, so that it doesn't move around the hook. Work under both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on there now. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2, and you'll have your double crochet. Now you're going to chain 1. If you did the slip stitch, chain 3, you're going to chain 1 more. And now you're going to double crochet again into the same stitch. This is a V-stitch, but for the purposes of the pattern, I've written it as a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. You're going to skip 2, so 1, 2, and you're going to work your next one right here, and it's a double crochet, so skip 2, 1, 2, working into this stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Like so. Skip 2, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And again, skip 2. And you're going to do this all the way around the hat. Remembering to skip 2 between each set of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet stitches. When you reach the end, you'll notice here there's 2 stitches you're skipping, and there's your first V-stitch, your chain 3 plus your chain 1 and your double crochet if you joined with a slip stitch. You're going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet, or if you chained 3, you'll slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And you can make it a fairly tight slip stitch because we're not counting it or working into it. Then chain 1 because we're going to finish off. And snip that yarn, and then just pull through to finish it off. You can tighten that too. That's to hold your yarn in place for the moment. We'll be weaving those in at the end. For round 3 of your project, you're going to be working on the right side of your project, so the outside of your project. So the outside of the hat is facing you. The first round of double crochets are facing you and are worked in the correct direction. These V-stitches, we're looking at the back of those stitches. We'll be joining with a standing double crochet in any chain 1 space of the hat. I like to try to keep mine along the same back section for all the seam work. I'm going to join mine. I'm going to join it right here. You can either join into one of your chain 1 spaces with a slip stitch to join and a chain 3 to count as your first double crochet, or you can make a standing double crochet stitch into the chain 1 space. I'm going to use the standing double crochet method. So you yarn over, you have your slip knot on the hook, I always catch the yarn tail between my fingers so that it doesn't swivel around on my hook. Insert your hook into a chain 1 space, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you'll have your first double crochet. Work 4 more double crochets into that same space. And you'll have 5 double crochets in there. We're going to be making a popcorn stitch out of these. If you have your chain 3, work under the top of your chain 3, so your 3rd chain, and go through this loop that we just removed from the last stitch. And you pull them through like so. Chain 2. And we're going to do the same thing in the next chain 1 space. We're going to skip all the double crochets in between. Work 5 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Remove your hook. I always pinch right there. Insert your hook under the top loop, so both the front and back loop of the first double crochet stitch. Insert through that loop you removed it from on the last stitch you made, and pull that through. Chain 2. So continue working around, working a popcorn stitch into each chain 1 space. And chain 2. Once you've worked your popcorn stitches into each of the chain 1 spaces, you're going to slip stitch into the first flower to join. I slip stitch right into the centerpiece, like so. Like that. And you can chain 1 and finish this color off. And now we're going to begin the rest of the hat. The rest of the hat is worked with the same crochet hook, so it's going to be your 5mm hook. You're going to be joining your yarn with a double crochet in any chain 2 space. I like to try to keep the seam up the back of the hat in the same line as where I'm seaming the band. So I'm going to join into this chain 2 space here. So with a slip knot on your hook, we're going to do the standing double crochet join again. If you want to, you can still do your slip stitch chain 3 method. So into the chain 2 space. And work another double crochet in the same spot. We're going to work a double crochet into the top of the popcorn stitch, so right down the middle and out the back. Two into this chain 2 space. One right into the center of the popcorn or the flower. 2 in the chain 2 space. And through the popcorn stitch. 2 in the chain 2 space. For the popcorn stitch, just so you can see how it's working. It's going right in here in between all the stitches, right there, and 2 in the chain 2 space. And we continue this all the way around. You'll have 51 double crochets at the end of this round. One into the last popcorn. And now we have the 2 here already. What we're going to do is slip stitch into the first one to join. If you did the chain 3 here instead, then to the top of the chain 3. So you slip stitch, you can make it tight because we're not going to be working into that. Turn our work so the inside of the hat is facing you now. Chain 3. That counts as our first double crochet. And that is counting as this stitch right here. Work 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And double crochet 2 together over the next 2. So that is half a double crochet, half a double crochet, and that joins them together. So that's a double crochet 2 together. I'll show you that one more time. Yarn over, insert the hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 only. You have 2 loops left, so this is half a double crochet on this one. Yarn over, insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 only. So you can see you have half a double crochet and half a double crochet. Yarn over and pull through all 3, and you've combined those 2 together to make 1 stitch top. So 1 stitch at the top. So we've decreased by 1 stitch here. So now we're going to continue this. We're going to do 3 double crochets. And now we're going to do a double crochet 2 together. Three double crochets. And a double crochet 2 together. And we're going to continue this all the way around the hat. So 3 double crochets. And double crochet 2 together. 3 double crochets. And double crochet 2 together. And at the end, you'll notice it looks like you might have 1 stitch you need to work still, but this chain 3 was worked in that stitch. That's where we slip stitch to join. So we're not working another one here. We're ending with the double crochet 2 together. And now you can slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to join for this round. Like that. And after this round, we now have 41 stitches. So we decreased by 10 stitches on that round. To begin round 6 with the right side facing, so remember you had to turn your work after the end of round 5. Chain 3, that counts as your first double crochet, and it's counting as this stitch right here beside it. Work 1 double crochet in the next stitch and double crochet 2 together. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, double crochet 2 together, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, double crochet 2 together, and we work this all the way around to the last stitch. We already worked a stitch in this stitch here, which is our chain 3. So you need to work 1 double crochet in this last stitch, like that, and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. You're going to turn your work, and now the inside is facing again, and we're beginning round 7, chain 3, double crochet 2 together, double crochet 2 together, double crochet 2 together, double crochet 2 together, double crochet 2 together. Working this all the way around the hat to the last stitch. And remember, we worked the chain 3 for that chain 3. We only need to work 1 more, so the last double crochet, and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. And now we have 21 stitches. Turn your work so the right side of the project is facing you, chain 2, and work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. Together we're going to count this as a double crochet 2 together, and work a double crochet 2 together for each 2 stitches around. And work 1 double crochet in the final stitch. Remember, this one here was your chain 3 and it was replacing this stitch right here. Slip stitch to the top to join, and turn your work, and the inside, we're working around the inside again on this round. Work 1 single crochet in each of the stitches around. When you're done, you should have 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And now we're going to chain 1 to finish off. Leave a longer tail this time because we need to weave this in. So pull that through with the right side facing you. Get your yarn needle. You're going to go under 1 loop of each of the last single crochet stitches in a weaving motion. So one goes one way, the next one comes towards you, next one you go away, towards you, and just grab 1 loop. It makes it nice and neat at the top when you tighten it to cinch it together. And work all the way around to where you started. And now you just tighten to close it like that. And then pop that through the tiny hole at the top. Flip your hat inside out and weave in your ends. I like to include a little extra just in case it ever does come undone and someone needs to repair it. Then you have a little bit of extra yarn to work with. I like to go in a couple different directions. I tend to overdo it a little, I think. But I like it to be secure. And you can finish that off. And then you just need to finish these last bits on the outside of the hat. I think it turned out pretty cute. You have to seam in your ends. And just whip stitch these closed. Like so. And then pop this to the inside and weave that in as well. And just weave in all your other colors too, and then you'll have your completed hat. And once you're all done, we'll pretend I wove those in. I think you get the idea. That's the back of the hat. You can kind of see the seam line if you look real hard. It's right here. And the front. There's your front of your hat. There we go. I hope you enjoyed making this hat with me today. Have a great day.